Amazon Music.
Hello, sports fans. It's me, Sportsman
To keep the music
Z.
going, you can say, "Play more like that," and I will play similar music.
Alright, sorry, Alexa interrupted me. Hello, sports fans. It's me, Sportsman Z, Bob Zolke. And I am going today to play the first game of the National League playoffs of 1978, which in real life were the Philadelphia Phillies versus the Los Angeles Dodgers. And I will be replaying this series as well as the American League series, which is Kansas City against now the Boston Red Sox, because in my alternate world scenario, the Boston Red Sox actually beat the Yankees in the one-game playoff that they had. And in that series, Boston is up 1-0 currently over the Kansas City Royals. And so I'm going to do the National League's first game, and so that we can see how this series starts to progress. Today's pitchers for the visiting Philadelphia Phillies will be Steve Carlton, lefty, and there's his card. And for the Los Angeles Dodgers, I am going with Bert Hooton, the Bert Hooton. So he will be going up against lefty, and we will see how that works out for both teams. So let's get into it. The Phillies will be up first. They're the visiting team playing in LA. And that will bring up Gary Maddox as the first batter. He is a center field 1 and batting against Bert Hooton. And he gets a 5-8, which is a fly ball left field B. So that's a fly out to 7. Bake McBride, 2-7, and he is playing today in right field, and 2-7 is a ground ball third base B, so he's out. Ground out 5-3. And that brings up Michael Jack Schmidt, playing, of course, third base today. He's a third base 1, and he gets a 4-4 on Hooton, which is a fly ball center field X. The center fielder for the Dodgers is Reggie Smith, and he is a 3, and that's a 4. So that might be something. That might be something good for the Phillies. 4-3 is a safe error on second. So Mike Schmidt is safe at second on an E8. And Reggie Smith will make sure he gets credit for that error. And Greg Luzinski, the bull, is up. And he gets a 3-8, and that's a strikeout. And that's the first strikeout for Hooton on the day. And now the Phillies get nothing there, and now the Dodgers are coming to bat with the leadoff hitter Davey Lopes. And he gets a 1-5, which is a single. Davey Lopes leading off with a base hit. Hit given up by lefty Carlton. He's a double-A, so he is going to steal. And he does make it. So he goes to second on a stolen base. And, yeah. So now there's a man at second with no outs and Bill Russell up. He gets a 4-7 off of Carlton. And Carlton 4-7 is a ground ball second base X. And the second baseman for the Phillies is Ted Sizemore, and he's a 3. And that's a 14. Doesn't look good. Got to tell you, it doesn't look good, and it isn't. It's a one-base error by Ted Sizemore. So, with no outs, actually, yeah. So he goes to third, and Russell gets on by an E. What was that? E4. So Ted Sizemore with an error. And now there's 2 runners on with no outs. And Reggie Smith is up, and he gets a 4-8 on Carlton, and that's a strikeout. So Carlton has 1 out here. Too early in the game, so no infield in or any of that. Ron Say is up, and he gets a 2-7, which is a fly ball B, and knocks in the runner on third. Yeah, that's a sac fly. Runner scores. And that brings up Steve Garvey. And Steve Garvey gets a 2-4, which is a pop out to second. But the Dodgers do come up with a run on a key error by Ted Sizemore. And that brings up Richie Hebner. And he gets a 6-10 off of Hooton. Is a ground ball third base X. That is Ron Say. He's a 3, and that's a 4. 4 and 3 is a double. Okay. So that's a double for Hebner. Base hit given up by Hooton. That brings up Bob Boone, and he gets a 6-8 on Hooton's card. Is a pop out to short. Pop out to 6. 1 away. Larry Boa gets a 5-9, and that's a strikeout. Second strikeout of the game for Hooton, and that brings up Ted Sizemore. And he gets a single 1-9. And he does get a single. Runners are at first and third with 2 outs, and that brings up Steve Carlton, who is a 5 hitting pitcher, and he gets a 3-5, which is a single, and drives in a run. That's a single double asterisk. So runners are at the corners. So we give the RBI to Carlton. Hit allowed, earned run. Runner still at the corners, 2 away. Gary Maddox, he gets a 4-12, and that's a line out to first base. So the threat ends, but the Phillies do tie the game. Let's see. Line out 2-3. One run for the Phillies. And that brings up Rick Monday to lead off the bottom of the second. And he gets a 1-6, which is a walk. First walk allowed by Carlton. And that brings up Dusty Baker. Dusty Baker gets a 2-8, which is a ground ball, third base double play. So there's 2 outs. Five, 4-3 double play. That brings up Steve Yeager, who gets a 2-3, and that's a ground ball second base. So ground out to 4. And the Dodgers get no runs in the second. And the game is tied at 1. Going into the top of the third, it brings up Bate McBride. He gets a 2-3, which is a ground ball second base A. So ground out to 4, 1 away. Mike Schmidt gets a 4-5. 4-5 is a fly ball center field B. Michael Jack Schmidt flies out to 8. And that brings up Greg Luzinski, the Bull, and he gets a home run. Greg Luzinski jacks one out of here and puts the Phillies ahead. And that is going to be 1 RBI. Hooton gives up another hit and another earned run. And that brings up Richie Hebner. And that's a 5-9, which is a strikeout. So Hooton does get another strikeout, but he allows another run by the Phillies. They go ahead. And now batting in the bottom of the third, to lead off the bottom of the third, is Bert Hooton against Carlton. And he gets a 1-9, which is a strikeout. He's a 2 hitting pitcher. So Hooton with the K. And Carlton striking him out. Davey Lopes gets a 4-6, and that is a single 1 to 8. And that is going to be a line out to third. Okay. Line out to 5. And then that brings up Russell. And he gets a 5-4, which is a home run off of Carlton. Bill Russell hits a home run. We got all kinds of home run power being flashed here. And Carlton gives up a home run. And now, so LA takes a 2-1 lead with Reggie Smith up. And he gets a 1-7, which is a walk. And that's a walk by Carlton. And Ron Say is up, and Ron Say gets a 4-8 on Carlton's card, which is a strikeout. And that is going to be the inning, but not until Lefty gives them the lead. Or no, it's a tie game. No, it's a tie game, 2-2. So, tied at 2, we go to the top of the fourth with the Phillies up, the Fightin' Phils. Bob Boone, 4-3, fly ball to right field. The right fielder for the Dodgers is Rick Monday, and he's a 2. That's a 17. I'm thinking that's probably an out, and it is. So Boone with a fly out to right field. That brings up Larry Boa. Larry Boa with a 3-11 is a ground ball second base A, so that's 2 away. And then that brings up Ted Sizemore. Ted Sizemore gets a ground ball shortstop A. So the Phillies get no runs there, and it's still 2-2. And now going to the bottom of the fourth, with Steve Garvey leading off in the bottom of the fourth against Carlton. He gets a 6-8, which is a pop out to first base. Pop out to 3. Brings up Rick Monday. Rick Monday gets a 1-8, which is a strikeout. And that brings up Dusty Baker. And Dusty Baker gets a 1-5, which is a walk. Former manager of the Giants, the Cubs, and the Nationals. And even, I think, Cincinnati as well. And that brings up Steve Yeager. And Steve Yeager gets a 2-5, which is a strikeout. And no runs for the Dodgers there. We remain tied at 2 going to the top of the 5th. And in the top of the 5th, for the Phillies, will be Bert Hooton. Wait a minute. Hold on. I had these guys. Yeah. Let's see. I had these guys reversed. Alright. So, probably gave a hit back there to somebody that didn't deserve it. But anyway, got it right now. Bert Hooton is up, leading off in the, or no. No, I had that. No, I had it right. I had it right. I don't know, man. All right, Carlton. Carlton is leading off in the top of the 5th, and he gets a 1-9, which is a ground ball, one away. Ground ball, third base A. In the 5th, and that's 5-3, one away. Maddox gets a 4-8 on Hooton's card, which is a strikeout. And that brings up Bake McBride, and he gets a 2-10, which is a ground ball, first base B. Ground out to 3. No runs for the Phillies there, and that brings up in the bottom of the 5th inning, Hooton will lead off against Carlton. And he gets a 3-6, which is a ground ball shortstop, one away. Ground out to 6. 6-3. Davey Lopes is up, and he gets a 3-7, which is a ground ball shortstop. So 6-3 for him. And that brings up Bill Russell. And Bill Russell is a 1-4. That's to pop out to third base. Pop out to 5. No runs for the Dodgers. And we go to the top of the 6th, still tied at 2. Michael Jack Schmidt up, and he gets a 4-3 on Hooton, which is a fly ball to right. The right fielder's Monday, who is a 2. We've established that. That's a roll of a 6, which is an out. One away. Schmidt is out on a fly out to 9. Luzinski, the Bull, 4-9, is a shortstop X, and the shortstop is Bill Russell, who is a 3, and now I lost my dice. And that's a 7. 7-3, and shortstop is probably an out, and it is. So Luzinski goes 6-3, and that brings up Richie Hebner. And Hebner is a 3-2, which is a foul out to the catcher. Foul out to 2. And that takes us to the bottom of the 6th, still tied at 2. So there was some scoring early, and now, since then, there's been almost nothing. Reggie Smith steps up, and he gets a 110, which is a ground ball shortstop A. So 6-3, 1 away. Ron Say gets a 2-5, which is a single. The Penguin getting a base hit. Only the 3rd hit given up by Carlton. And then that brings up Steve Garvey. And that's a 1-8, which is a single. So with 1 out, there's 2 runners on. 4th hit allowed by Carlton. That brings up Rick Monday. And Rick Monday hits a 3-run home run, 3-6 automatic jack. Rick Monday. So there's 1, 2, 3 runs coming in there. And Carlton is in a lot of trouble now. Baker's up, and he gets a 1-6, and that's a walk. And a walk by Carlton. And the Phillies are going to go to their bullpen. So Carlton goes 5 1/3. Yes. 5 1/3 for lefty. And they are going to bring in Randy Lurch. Randy Lurch comes in, and he will pitch to Steve Yeager with 1 man on and 1 out. And he gets a 5-7, which is a strikeout. Strikes out Yeager. And then that brings up Hooton. And Hooton gets a 2-7, which is a strikeout. So Randy Lurch comes in and he calms things down, but not before the Dodgers strike for 3 runs and take a 5-2 lead in the game. And that will bring up Bob Boone. Bob Boone gets a 3-3, which is a ground ball pitcher, and that's 1 away. So 1-3. That brings up Larry Boa. Larry Boa gets a 1-4, which is a triple 1-7 or a double. He gets a double. Bert Hooton giving up his 5th hit. And that brings up, who does that bring up? Ted Sizemore. And he gets a 4-4 and a 4-4 on Hooton is a fly ball to center field X. The center fielder is a 3, that's Reggie Smith, and that's a 2, so that's another bonehead play by Reggie Smith, it looks like. 2 and 3 is a double 2. So Reggie Smith can't get to it, and Boa hits a double, driving in, or Sizemore. Sizemore hits a double, driving in Boa. And Hooton allows another run. And that brings up the pitcher spot, which would be Randy Lurch, and Randy Lurch is an 8 hitting pitcher. So considering that he's that good, they're going to let him hit and keep him in the game because, you know, they have to be concerned about going the rest of the way here. So Randy Lurch will come up and hit, and he gets a 6-9 on Hooton, which is a fly ball center field C, and that's let's write him in actually. Randy Lurch. And what was that? 6-9 is a fly ball center field C, so Lurch flies out to flies out to 8, and that is 2 down and Gary Maddox up. And he gets a 1-2, which is a ground ball to the third baseman A. So 5-3. The Phillies strike for another run, and they make it 5-3. So they're making it a better game here. Randy Lurch still on the mound. And in the bottom of the 7th, we're going to lead off with Davey Lopes. He gets a 5-6, which is a ground ball second base. The second baseman for the Phillies is Sizemore, who's a 3 and has already made a bad play. Probably not there, though. No, that's an out. So Lopes gets a 4-3. 1 away. Bill Russell up 6-7, and that's a walk. So Lurch walks a guy, and yeah, that's Russell. So Reggie Smith up with 1 out, and 5-5 is a fly ball right field C, 2 away. Fly out to 9. And that brings up Ron Say. And Ron Say gets a ground ball shortstop A. So 6-3. No runs. Randy Lurch shuts them down again. We go to the top of the 8th with Bake McBride coming up. He gets a 2-8, which is a line out to first base, 1 away. Line out to 3. Michael Jack Schmidt gets a 1-6, which is a walk. That was the only thing in the column, and he got it. Hooton walking a guy, and then that brings up Greg Luzinski, the Bull, and he gets a 5-9 on Hooton, which is a strikeout. And that brings up Richie Hebner, and Richie Hebner gets a 6-12, which is a line out to first base. No runs come across, and Randy Lurch is still out there, and now pitching in the bottom of the 8th to Steve Garvey. And Steve Garvey gets a 5-11 off Lurch, which is the first base X. The first baseman for this team is Hebner, and he's a 3. They got bad defense all the way around, pretty much. A 20 and a 3. And that's going to be an out 1. 1 away. So Garvey gets out 3-1. Wait, who was that? Garvey? Yeah, Garvey. Out 3-1. And Rick Monday's up 5-7, and on Randy Lurch, that's a strikeout. Randy Lurch has come in and really pitched well in relief of lefty, and then that brings up Baker, and Baker gets a 2-5, which is a fly ball center field B. Fly out to 8, no runs come in, and here we are in the top of the 9th. The Phillies have got to have 2 runs to keep this game going, I believe. Yes. And that'll be, they're going to lead off with Bob Boone, and Hooton is still out there. Hooton is still going strong. He hasn't lost much. And they hit a fly ball to right field. The right fielder for the Dodgers is Rick Monday, and he's a 2, and that's a 1 and a 2, and that's going to be out, I believe. Yep. So 4-3, right field 9, out 9. Fly out to 9. There's one away, and that brings up Larry Bowie, yes. And there's a 3-7 ground ball, third base B, so that's a 5-3. 2 away. And Ted Sizemore, and he gets a 1-5, which is a ground ball, shortstop A. So 6-3, and the Dodgers win Game 1 over the Phillies by the score of 5-3. Your loser for the game is definitely Carlton. Carlton went 5 1/3. Lurch went 2 2/3 of very good relief ball. In fact, he didn't give up a hit in that time over that time period. Hooton gets the win, and he goes all 9 innings and only gave up 3 runs. So that's where we are, folks. We have just completed the first game of the NLCS with the Dodgers beating the Phillies and being on top of the Phillies now 1-0. And in real life, the Dodgers actually won the series. So we'll see if that holds true in this alternate world. But for right now, this is me, Sportsman Z, Bob Zolke, signing off from LA.